Going to take a look now at the 2022 paper 2, starting with the multiple choice questions, which there are 10, as you should be aware, in each of the papers. So question 1 then, which of the following does not, read the question carefully, have an interest charge? Well, bank loan, there's going to be interest. Debenture, there's going to be interest. Mortgage, there's going to be interest. So the answer is going to be ordinary shares. We don't have to pay interest, we just pay dividends. So question 2, which is the correct formula for trade payables days? Now, I think with this kind of question, you need to cover up the possible answers and think, what would the answer be? And then hope that it's somewhere in A to D underneath. So which is the correct formula then? For trade payables days, it needs to be trade payables divided by credit purchases times 365. So trade payables over credit purchases times 365 is D. Don't put cost of sales in there. Sometimes you might have to use cost of sales if purchases haven't been separately identified, and you might see that in the odd business textbook, but for us, definitely trade payables divided by credit purchases times 365. Okay, right, number 3, a business has budgeted that overheads for the maintenance department will be 20% higher than last year's figure of £15,000. So £15,000 plus 20% is actually going to be £18,000. We've got Department A and Department B and the net book value of their machinery. Which is the correct amount for the maintenance overheads to be apportioned to Department B for next year? So if we're apportioning the overheads on the basis of net book value of machinery, we need to add those two together. So 750 plus 450 is 1.2 million. Okay, and we're trying to find what it is for Department B. So for Department B, it's 450 over 1200 times the 18,000. Let's just work that out. 450 divided by 1200 times 18,000 is 6,750. So the answer for number 3 there is B. Which is the correct formula for earnings per share? Let's cover that up again. So earnings per share, we need to know the number of shares. That's going to go on the bottom, and earnings are going to be your profits after tax. So those are the profits that we could pay dividends to our shareholders from. So profit after tax is C divided by the number of issued ordinary shares. So the answer is most definitely C. I'm not going to bother ruling out the others. There is no point. Too many pages being turned over there. Number 5, Jude is a professional accountant and needs to attend a training course on recent changes to company law. Which fundamental ethical principle is Jude complying with? Well, that's clearly going to be professional competence and due care, making sure they're properly qualified and skills are up to date. Number 6, which of the following is not a benefit of budgeting? Well, budgeting, it doesn't calculate the actual profit, it only calculates the budgeted profit. So I think the answer is A, but these are all benefits of budgeting. So helps coordination, helps management control spending, helps with planning. So it's definitely got to be A there. Number 7, which of the following does not apply to management accounting information? Well, I think it's an emphasis on decision making, definitely. It focuses on the needs of internal stakeholders. Yep. It's not produced within a regulatory framework, so I think that's probably going to be C. Reports can be produced as and when needed. Yep, so flexibility. So the answer is definitely C. That does not apply to management accounting. It's financial accounting. The reports are produced within a regulatory framework of international accounting standards and whatnot. Number 8, Samir is a sole trader. The following information relates to the account of C. Lewis, a trade receivable for the month of May. So we've got some figures there that would be in this account. So I'm going to suggest we draw up a T account, because what we're trying to find is the missing figure for returns inwards. Sorry, that's not a very straight line. So the balance brought down on a receivable account is going to be on the debit side. Remember, trade receivables, and R for receivables is the R in DEA. So debit, drawings, expenses, assets, and receivables. The amount owed carried down is going to be on the opposite side, so 425. Sales, we're going to credit the sales account. We're going to debit the customer account, 210. That's that one. Receipts, we're going to debit the bank. We're going to credit the customer's account with 160. So this missing figure is the sales returns. I'll just squash that in. So 560 plus 210 minus 160 and minus 425 is 185. So that's the missing figure there. So it's 185 on the credit side. So be careful there. We've got a choice of credit and debit, but it's definitely going to be on the credit side. So the answer there is C. Okay. Holly owns a wholesalers. She gives discount to credit customers who pay within 30 days of the sale being made. Abu, a trade receivable of Holly's business, settles his account within 15 days. Which is the correct book of prime entry and the double entry for the business to record the discount allowed in this transaction? So if you remember, when we've got discounts allowed and discounts received, we use a 3-column cash book. So it's definitely not going to go through the sales journal. That's only going to be sales invoices. We already did the invoice. What's happened now is that Abu has paid. So it's going to go into a 3-column discount. And discount allowed is going to be expense. So we're going to debit discount allowed and credit Abu to reduce the amount that he or she owes. So the answer is most definitely going to be A there for number 9. And last but not least, number 10, the following information is provided for a business for the month of February. Closing inventory in units, production in units, and sales in units. I think what we're going to have to do here is a little production budget. It says which is the correct opening inventory figure for the production budget for February. So if you remember the production budget, it's in units. It starts with sales. So the sales unit's 540. You deduct opening inventory. Okay, so we don't know what that figure is. Deduct opening inventory because you've already made that. You don't want to make it again, but you add closing inventory because you need to make sure that those units are in stock at the end. And that's going to tell you how many units you need to produce. So production needs to be 460. So if we add the 540 and the 45 together, we get 585. But we're only producing 460. So that means that this missing figure here must have been 125 units. So the answer for that is D. Okay, so that's the first part of section A done. I'll record a separate video going through the other questions.